Hey guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Gabby, and today we are going to be detailing the exterior of my Trailblazer. A couple of weeks ago, I posted a video where I detailed the interior, so if you haven't seen that, go check that out. I'll link it in the iCard. But this week, we are doing the outside, and it is disgusting. It's not nearly as bad as it could be if I lived in actual winter, but thankfully we don't get snow here, so it's not as bad as it could be, but I haven't actually washed the outside of my car for probably like a year, so we are working with rain cleanings, which is so bad, I know, but I'm on it today. We are going to get this thing sparkling. So before we get started, I just wanted to show you guys everything I used for this entire process. So if you have any questions or want to see what I was using, feel free to pause and check out what's going on in this little lineup. There was a lot more things than I expected to be used during this whole thing, but when it was all said and done, I used every single one of these things and it worked out really great. So if you need any product recommendations, just check this stuff out. I'll also go ahead and link everything down below if you want to find the products that way. Alrighty, so right out the gate, I wanted to tackle these headlights. They are so cloudy. I honestly never even noticed it until I started watching all of these detailing videos, and then I walked by my car one day and I was like, oh my gosh, my headlights are complete trash. So I wanted to tackle one of these first before I got anything else done, just to see what it would look like all cleaned up. Lucky for me, I have a professional on speed dial. My dad. He runs and owns a collision repair shop, and he has been taking apart and rebuilding cars since he was like 9 years old. So if I'm gonna trust anyone's advice, it's gonna be his, and he led the way on this whole headlight clearing situation. We actually have a second car, and one of the headlights on that was all fogged up from condensation and stuff, so he took me through that one and showed me exactly what to do. So we went out and got this 1500 grit wet dry polish sandpaper. So what you're gonna wanna do is get yourself a bucket of soapy water and put a little bit of sandpaper in there and let it soak for a second. And then you're gonna want to wet down the headlight. And when you take your sandpaper to it, make sure you keep your hand as flat as possible, and you're just gonna get to sanding. As you do that, you'll kind of see like a foggy looking cloudy substance coming off, and with that you're either sanding off the clear coat or the fogginess in your headlamp. Either way, keep it that for what feels like a really long time, and it's gonna feel like your arm's falling off. When you finally give up, you're gonna want to get your polish, and you're gonna start working in little like 3" by 3" sections. And what I ended up using was an attachment for my drill, but it was so tedious. I really wish that I had a polisher for this, because it's really hard to hang on to a drill because it feels really uneven. But we worked through it. I got these little drill brush attachments with the soft polisher heads. And make sure you're not spinning your drill too fast. As my dad would say, you want to let the compound work for you. So probably stick around a medium speed if you're using a drill. But hopefully, if you're lucky, you have a polisher. Also, I completely forgot to mention the purpose of the tape. It is a protection measure for your car paint. It's so that while you're working with the sander and the polisher, you're not buffing off the clear coat or your actual paint on your car. And obviously my drill brush attachment was pretty large, so I went ahead and taped everything off just to protect the paint on my vehicle. Ideally, after the sanding was done, you would want to do a new clear coat on the headlight, But that is a professional job, so you'd have to take that in and get that done because they actually like pull the whole headlight out to do the clear coat. But we polished it, and if you keep up on the polishing, your headlight will stay clear. So that is the path we are taking today. And I think it turned out pretty dang good, if I do say so myself. So now it is time to get into the actual car washing. I'm gonna go ahead and start with a full power washing just to get the big chunks off. Luckily for me, my wheel wells are plastic, so I don't have that awful carpet problem that a lot of cars have. So for the soap application, I actually had purchased this hose attachment that came with this little soap bottle thing that you can screw into it, and it was hypothetically supposed to spray soapy water on your car. So I fiddled around with that for a little while and got it to work. I don't know if it's the best course of action, but it definitely works, so I had no problem with it. I just feel like it wastes a lot of soap. So I'm thinking about investing in a foam cannon because not only is that super visually pleasing, but I think it might be a more productive way to soap up the car. As for these tires, I wasted an insane amount of time trying to scrub them down with soap. I did this whole process twice on each tire, and they were still covered in brake dust, and there was still oily crud all over the rims. I should have listened to my dad right out the gate and gone and purchased the right products for this process, but I thought that just some good old soap and elbow grease would get the job done. I was wrong, I wasted a lot of time, and I know better now. So later on in the video, you will see me use the correct products for tire cleaning. Before we get too far into this video, I just wanted to mention that I am heavily inspired by Detail Geek and Stoffer's Garage. I would not have a clue what I was doing without them, so huge shout out to them for inspiring me to start detailing my car. It is way more work than it looks like. They are true professionals and make it look easy, but it is not. For whatever reason, I didn't have this problem when I was doing the interior, but I kept forgetting to use my detail brush on the exterior. I don't know why. I remembered on this backside, but now that I'm editing, I totally forgot to do inside my gas cap, so that's still super dirty, and I'm almost certain I forgot loads of other places that I could have gone in with the detail brush, so I will have to remember that for next time. So for the drying process, I ordered some microfiber towels, some like specific drying ones, but I didn't bite the bullet and buy like the expensive $25 towel because I just couldn't do it. It seemed way too expensive for one towel. But these were really thin and got full of water very quickly, so I'm not sure what's more worth it, to save a little money or to just get one towel that dries the whole car. If you guys have ever used the big, thick microfiber drying towels before, let me know if it's worth it or if I should just stick with the thin ones. Okay, we are now on to the other headlight. I wanted to kind of separate them out and see when in the process I wanted to do the headlamp clearing. I did the one right at the beginning, and then this one I did after the car wash, and I think I like doing them after the car wash. When it was all said and done, this one seemed a little more clear. I don't know if it's because I spent more time sanding it down or if it really did work out better doing it after I had washed the car once. Not totally sure, but I think from now on I'm gonna go ahead and do the headlight clearing after the car wash. Also, if you guys have any suggestions about anything involved in exterior detailing, please let me know in the comments. I don't know if it's just because I don't watch as many exterior details, but I felt way less confident about this whole process than I did on the interior video. So truly, if you guys have any suggestions for doing a better job on the exterior detail, please let me know because I would love to learn and be way more professional about this whole thing. So, like I said, let me know in the comments what your suggestions are. All right, we have entered day 2 of this project. I made the mistake of starting out at like 3 p.m. the day before, and I ran myself into darkness, so that was my own fault. But today we are starting with a clay bar wipe down just to make sure we have all the little chunkies off before we start waxing. So for the waxing portion, I had 2 options in my collection, and I decided to go with the red bottle. It seemed a little less fancy, and at this point, it's kind of like polishing a turd because my car is so messed up. I bought it totaled from hail, and there's loads of dents all over it, so didn't want to waste the fancy stuff on the car. But at this point, I got going on the very first panel, and it started to sprinkle. So I had to go ahead and take a little time out on the waxing and wait for the rain to stop. So again, I completely regret not investing in a polisher. The whole process of waxing was so exhausting. My arms were toast after this. Using a drill with a waxing pad attachment is not the way to go. I do not recommend it. It's just so much work. Like, the drill feels like it's out of control all of the time because it's just going around in circles, so you're getting pulled constantly. So I would definitely recommend a polisher. I'm gonna get some lessons in polishing from my dad the next time I go home, so hopefully after that I'll have myself a polisher and this whole process will be a lot smoother and way less exhausting. Okay, so I don't know how many of you would have actually noticed, but I missed a spot on my hood waxing. Oh my gosh, I didn't even notice until I was editing this, but I am so annoyed, so I had to drag you all into this with me. Sorry. So for the car plastic, I wanted you guys to be able to see a little before and after, so I already finished the left side, and you can see how much better it looks all finished with the Chemical Guys Silk and Shine. So I went around the entire car and did all the plastic with that, and it looks so much better. And we are officially back to the tires, like I mentioned earlier. We needed some bleach white to get all this brake dust off of the tires. My dad said this to me before, and I kind of ignored him. Shouldn't have ignored him, because this stuff is magic. You can already see it working and pulling all that brake dust off the tire. Oh my gosh, it made this process so much faster. Don't even waste time with soap. Just go get yourself some bleach white and all of it will come right off. It is a pretty intense chemical though, so make sure you're wearing gloves when you use it. Next up, I have this Meguiar's Hot Rims Wheel and Tire Cleaner. Oh my gosh, this stuff was magic. It pulled all that grease and grime right up in seconds. I also picked myself up one of these round brushes. My bigger brush wasn't fitting very well in between the rims, so I got this one and it worked perfectly. And for the final touch, we are doing some tire gel on our tires. It makes such a huge difference in the way they look. They look brand new after this. Alrighty guys, that is all I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed this exterior detailing video. If you are new to the channel, subscribe. I would love to have you join this channel. I am just starting to get into detailing, so I'd love to have you along for the ride. Again, if you have any tips or tricks or suggestions for me, please let me know in the comments. I am a complete beginner, so I am totally open for your suggestions. Here are all of my before and after shots. I really think it turned out great. I was truly surprised at how much better it looked when I was done. I did not think it was as bad as it actually was. Alrighty guys, that is all I have for you today, and I will see you next time. Bye!